Welcome to OWAD Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe with Chinese. Let's continue unpacking something big related. And today's character looks very much, except this one extra dot in there. And I'm sure language creators in the end try to standardize because there are so many different ways to describe things. And this one is sort of related to big. And this extra dot make it too big. All right, tai is how I pronounce it. And here you see, I didn't quote Xu Shen's dictionary because he didn't even bother to include this character. Don't why is random act. And here, earlier version of Mandarin before it got standardized into Xu Shen's dictionary. Now here you can see this shape twice, and it got connected by this extra stroke. And that extra stroke probably is what's end up being described over here with the one dot because of this efficiency of writing, right? To express this related to big, and we'll big it twice, like a big, big. Instead of saying big, big, we visually stack them up, connecting them. And then when we simplify, we just leave this extra dot in there to mean this is over the top, like it's too big. So it originally means big, tai, but it shows up in our language oftentimes not really in a negative tone. It doesn't mean like overdone something, overdose of some measurement. Here we have examples of tai yang. Yang is the sun spreading as if it's spreading its wings. And that's a Chinese way to say the sun. The too big of a spreading wings warm object in the sky. And that's a Chinese way, I guess, to show the supreme power source for humans. Because really everything on Earth was able to, is still able to grow because we have a sun. We have the energy. That's how we get fueled. And so tai yang is a Chinese way to recognize that's the epitome, apex of the most grand spreading of the warmth thing. I'm sure the bonfires is a small scale, so tai yang is the extreme scale of spreading that warmth. Tai ji, ji is the beam of the tallest, I guess, beam on the ancient architecture. Like when you have a house building, then you have the tall point. And that tall point in your house kind of symbolize your relationship with the universe as well. That's the closest part of your house, which is kind of an extension of yourself. You're self-contained in your body as well as in your personal space. And that highest point in your personal space, just like here, right? It's closest to the stars or to the sun. And we use that ji as the polar. And that's ancient, I guess, a Chinese philosophy about how the world operates. So tai ji means the extreme, like way out there of the polar. And that points to the great axis, axes, to show that before we have this bipolar, which is the yin and the yang, like before things split into day and night, feminine, male, masculine, then before the separation of things, the great axis is where everything starts. And that's the Big Bang theory equivalent ancient version. So we call that tai ji. So here, tai paired with the tallest point in your personal space to point to the very extreme of things. It's very interesting, right? When we think about the origin of everything, it's the extreme, extremely far away, extremely long ago, extremely large scale that we humans almost cannot compare our human lifespan and physical size or impact to that big thing. So that's what that tai, this two, pair with ji, create the sense. Okay, The last one is very colloquial Chinese. If you can say this, 太那啥了. Okay, even if I speak it, I'm kind of bring warm memories when I'm actively using Chinese in my everyday life. That 太那啥了 is a Chinese way to say something, put a comment of this is too much. A little bit of like embarrassing to say it out, too much what. They didn't give you the what, but that what was derived in both conversation, like two ends, speaker, listener. I mean, the dialogue happened in between those two persons that hold the same context without saying that. And so, 太那啥了, 太 to, right? 那 referring to that. 啥 is the thing that we didn't say. So 啥 is supposed to be a descriptor. Probably it's like, it's too much work, or it's too aggressive. I mean, Chinese especially embarrasses by aggressive. Like if you stand up to yourself, to your boss to say, I want a raise, that's like, I don't know, it's probably contemporary Chinese probably would do that. But in my era, that's almost like, that's a power move that very few people can pull off. So 太那啥了 would be like, it's too aggressive. It's very embarrassing to, so both people, without talking about, without verbalizing it, have a shared understanding. They share the sentiment without specifying what's the subject, without putting it to words. I mean, how magic is that? That's the Chinese, like, when we say 太那啥了, it's almost like, okay, it's too much, and we don't want to talk too deep to that. So it's almost like a cover up or bookend to a conversation. You know, both share the sentiment, that's too much, but without giving it away of exactly what too much is. Okay, 了 is simply the ending. So a closure, the period. So 太. Here I put somebody in parachute, and it's next to the moon. So the moon gives us the sense of scale, even if it's only the closest outer space object close to the Earth. Still, it's something, you know, when we talk about moonshot, it's like quite a big effort if we land on the moon, right? So associate this human flying midair next to the moon, give you the sense of, oh, occasionally some human of us can associate tangibly to something that's too grand in terms of humans, because you know, moon has always been there. It's way bigger. Even if it's smaller than the Earth, it's still, in terms of a human scale, it's still way bigger and way older. And a human kind of occur in the same frame. That gave it a sense of this contrast and this. What's the Greek mythology that somebody tried to get close to Sun Icarus or something like that? That dude got burned, right? Because it's trying to reach the unreachable, the sun in that case. But over here, I'm showing a human. But in today's technology, possibly still require lots of training and courage and know what they are doing, right? So they don't get killed. They can skillfully parachute down and have a moment next to the moon, at least visually. 太. Thank you for your time. See you another day.